So let's start broad and let me ask you what you've gleaned so far that's interesting to you about this accused killer.
Well, from what we know so far, and of course, what interests me is the motivation of the killer as well as other things. One of the things I find interesting and possibly telling, a lot of female friends from high school, college, and even recently in his grad program talk about him, various things to say. No former girlfriend or former intimate person has come forward, possibly because, it could be, oh my gosh, was I wrong to be involved with this guy? But I wonder if he simply hasn't had an intimate relationship, a romantic relationship. And the reason I think that is, without question, this was a targeted murder. And one of the victims, the two blondes, was brutalized, stabbed many more times than the other one. I think she was probably the target. One of the things that I think of regarding, motivation there was no sexual assault, but there was certainly a display of anger and rage and possibly revenge. There are many murders, and it's happening more lately, by men murdering women in this way. Anger, multiple stab wounds. It's rarely a gunshot. It's stabbing someone, of course, is in their face, personal, I hate you, that kind of thing. And that's what we see here. So I am wondering if there's actually a term for it, Megyn, and it's incel, which stands for involuntarily celibate. And there is a dark web. On the dark web, there are message boards where these guys talk about how much they hate women, and they blame the woman or women in general for them not having a girlfriend, somebody that wants to be intimate with them. And we're seeing more and more of this. The reason my mind is going there is nobody has come forward and said, oh my gosh, I dated this guy for a couple of months. I can't believe he did that. No, nobody is. And the female friends that are talking about him, none of them has said, yeah, he's got a girlfriend. He's always got a girlfriend. Women love him. And there are, I have read reports of classmates recently in his doctoral program that said various things about him, that he seemed to, with his female colleagues or female students that he was teaching, angry, short-tempered, that kind of thing. So I think it's a real good possibility that the motivation, if he is the guy, the motivation for this was some kind of anger, retaliatory thing. We know it was planned. This murder was planned. It wasn't a spur of the moment thing, or maybe one of the girls flipped him off and he got angry and decided to go make her pay for doing that. That isn't what happened here. And we know that his car was there before, weeks before. I think that interesting thing about the forensic, his knowledge of forensics, he sure didn't, if he's the guy, he sure didn't display them in carrying out this murder. Leaving behind something with his DNA, the pinging of cell phones. Certainly, why didn't he leave his cell phone at home? Right. Things like that. So I don't think, and some people have asked me, do I think he was trying to see if he could commit the perfect murder. I do not think that. And the reason I don't think that is there is a display of anger in at least the first person that was killed, the young woman that received more stab wounds than anyone.
So why, I know this is all speculation, of course, but why, if you were profiling this guy for the FBI, would you think he'd go on to kill 3 more people in the house, including one of the young women's boyfriends?
Good question. The 2 young women, the blondes, I've read that they were sleeping in the same bed.
Yeah, they were best friends.
They were best friends. So if he's after one, the one that he stabbed the most, and there's another, her friends right there, of course, in his mind, you have to kill her. Now, the couple, the boyfriend, girlfriend, that's kind of a head scratcher. If it is true, if the information is accurate, that they were asleep when they were attacked, then that would be the first question I'd ask whoever the killer is. Well, if they were asleep, they were no threat to you. Why did you do that? And then we have this information that the young woman that actually saw him, he walked by her. Why didn't he kill her? Don't know. We don't know. I do believe, however, your previous guests were talking, what in the world was the deal with the 8 hours before she called? I think she was in traumatic shock. As a nurse, I have seen it. And sometimes somebody can be in traumatic shock and not be able to speak or not be able to act or speak for days. And I think that's what happened here.
Oh, that's terrifying. And I know this is right up your alley, but do you believe if he did this, that this was the first time he killed somebody? Yes. 4 people, like, it just seems, forgive the word, but more sophisticated than a first-time killer would go for. More advanced, I don't know what the word is, aggressive. But what do you think?
I do. I would I do think it was probably the first time. He made a lot of mistakes. People get in their car after a murder, pardon me, and they are covered with blood. And the blood transfers to the seats, leather, fabric seats, and they try to clean it up, but it doesn't work. You can't clean up blood well enough that it can't be detected if there is a sophisticated forensic team looking for it. Now, you're right. It's unusual for killers to start out with this was a massacre. It was a mass murder. I don't know if that was his intention, but I believe that he knew exactly who was in that house when he went in.
He did.
And usually what we see with serial killers is they start acting out their fantasies earlier than 28. And when they're teenagers, they act out their fantasies on animals or other kids, but it wouldn't necessarily be a murder, for example. This guy does not fall in the category of serial killer. Okay, but here's an example of what I'm talking about. Jeffrey Dahmer started his killing in his 20s. Robert Ressler, former FBI, retired FBI profiler, he's passed away now, one of the founders of the profiling program, advised the detectives, once Dahmer was in custody, go back and wherever he lived and look, talk with the police, see if they have any unsolved murders of boys, men, or animals where he's lived. And they did, and they found someone that was, when Jeffrey was an adolescent, I think 13, 14 years old, He was riding his bicycle in a residential area, and he was going one way, and he sees a kid, a younger kid on a bike coming toward him. And when you're a kid and you're riding a bike, you're not, just you want to get home or wherever you're going. And Jeffrey had a knife with him. And as the boy passed him, he reached over and then drove on and went on. He was never caught for that. And when Ressler interviewed him, I believe he admitted that, but I'm not sure of that. But what I'm saying is, killers that become serial killers start acting their stuff out much sooner than this.
So you've heard me talk about Bonner Private Wine Partnership in the past. Listen up, okay? They have incredibly rare Malbecs right now that you must try. If you enjoy a great glass of wine, try these wines from the extreme altitudes of Argentina. The flavor is spectacular. They got blackberry, leather, smoke, little dark cherry. Who doesn't love that? And these wines are nearly impossible to get on your own. The producers deep in the Andes Mountains make limited quantities. The best part is they have cut out the middleman, which means you will not deal with a big markup. Today, we have a new offer that we've never had before. If you visit BonnerPrivateWines.com/MKS, Bonner is BONNER, BonnerPrivateWines.com/MKS, you will not only get the wine for over 50% off plus free shipping, you'll also get a bonus bottle of small batch limited production wine from their exclusive wine cellar. That means you get 4 bottles for the price of 3. It's a deal that's hard to turn down if you are a wine lover like I am. Just visit BonnerPrivateWines.com/MKS to claim your bonus bottle and become a part of America's most unique wine club. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.